Welcome everyone. We're going to take a look at the first reading from this past Sunday's Mass. My mom was born in Ireland, and thank God she was healthy her whole life. My mom couldn't sit still. She just liked to do things. She was always busy. She raised 5 children. She was involved with the grandchildren. She worked at a restaurant. She kept the house nice and clean, liked to cook. My mom had a lot of energy, and she kept busy. This first reading is like that. It talks about a woman who's kind of driven the same way. A reading from the book of Proverbs. When one finds a worthy wife, her value is far beyond pearls. Her husband, entrusting his heart to her, has an unfailing prize. She brings him good and not evil all the days of her life. She obtains wool and flax and works with loving hands. She puts her hands to the distaff, and her fingers ply the spindle. She reaches out her hands to the poor and extends her arms to the needy. Charm is deceptive, and beauty fleeting. The woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her a reward for her labors, and let her works praise her at the city gates. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So this is taken from the book of Proverbs. And the book of Proverbs, not all of it, but a lot of it, it's just one proverb, one short saying, or one short proverb after another, after another, after another, after another. And they kind of read like tweets. They're just short little statements. So this is a section in the book of Proverbs about family life. Here, the writer is talking about the value of having a great woman as a wife, and you can almost feel the tweet feel to it. A worthy wife obtains wool and flax and works with loving hands. Next one, a worthy wife puts her hands to the distaff, and her fingers ply the spindle. A worthy wife reaches out her hands to the poor and extends her arms to the needy. So you kind of get this feel of a bunch of short sayings. So what's happening here? Well, this woman is being praised because she's a hard worker. She's industrious. She keeps herself busy around the house. She takes care of the children. In her spare time, she does what women back then would have done. She's working the spindle, she's sewing, she's using the distaff to go back and forth across the loom. So she's taking care of the household chores. But also, her energy is not just directed toward taking care of her husband and taking care of the needs of the children. She extends that outside the house. So her hands are busy taking care of the poor. And this is typical Jewish poetry. The same idea is repeated, but just slightly different. Her arms reach out to the needy. So catch that. Her hands take care of the poor. She extends her arms to the needy. And that's what's happening here. The reason the church chooses this reading this weekend, and it's the reason why almost every first reading is chosen, is because it connects to the gospel. In the gospel, Jesus is going to praise Christians who take initiative. He's going to praise those followers who don't sit around idle and they're not lazy. And like this woman. And he's really going to condemn his followers who are lazy and don't use their faith in what God has given them. So, Besides having a great mom, I also have three great sisters, Rosemary, Kathleen, and Ellen. And I cannot multitask. I can do one thing at one time and that's it. My three sisters, I guess because they're mothers, they can multitask. They can be doing a half a dozen different things at the same time, because that's what moms have to do, taking care of their kids. So my sisters are not lazy. I don't see them ever idling or just wasting time. Maybe they picked that up from my mom. I think this week we should commit ourselves to being industrious and keeping busy in the good sense of the word. Of course, sometimes we need to chill out and relax. That's why we have a retreat house here at Malvern. But we should also be engaged and active in life. So this week I would encourage you to do those things that you ought to be doing. If there's something that you've been postponing for a while, maybe this reading kind of shocks you a little bit. Maybe it kind of guilts you a little bit or prompts you to kind of tackle that project and take it on. The reading also reminds us not to waste time. Wasting time is a terrible, terrible thing. And time is one of our most limited resources. And so we need to take advantage of the time that Almighty God has given to us. So don't waste time, don't doodle away time. Use it productively. And if we do that, I think we'll be putting the first reading that we just heard into practice. Join us tomorrow, and we'll be taking a look at our second reading from Sunday's Mass. God bless everyone.